Yo, welcome back to another episode of On Spot Sports. I'm Jack, and today's episode we are joined by a very special guest, current professional soccer player Keegan Thompson. Keegan currently plays for the Chicago House AC team in the National Independent Soccer Association. He also plays college soccer days at Elmhurst College before turning pro. So, Keegan, this is going to be a fun episode. So, welcome to the show, Keegan Thompson.
Jack, thanks for having me. Excited to be on with a fellow Elmhurst graduate.
Oh, yeah.
Show some CCW love.
Oh, yeah.
Elmhurst College, Elmhurst University now.
Let's go. But like, how have you been? Like, you've been in a crazy time. Like, you just signed a contract to play pro with Chicago House. Like, how's everything going with you and with Chicago House?
It's going really well. Our preseason camp just kicked off about a week and a half ago. And from the time I graduated in December 2019, COVID sort of hit that next spring, and it's been a whirlwind of the last year and a half for everybody. And I feel like we've all seen like professional sports and college sports and amateur sports just get completely like shut down and come back in. And so having all that just craziness and change happen in the world, it's really nice to be in a spot back in Chicago, playing with the team and being able to do what I love. So it's been a really fun first week or so, and I'm excited for the potential that the boys have, and that everything is going smoothly so far. Just keep working.
Yeah, absolutely. So like, what have you been doing throughout like all the time with like COVID and all that, like with training wise and just trying to get yourself on a team somewhere?
Yes, that's a really good question. What sort of happened is after I graduated in December 2019, I was on trial with a handful of teams across the country, including Fort Madison, and then a couple teams out in California. And for the longest time, it was just me training at home, whether it was finding just an open parking lot or finding a turf field, and just sort of going at it on my own. I'm fortunate to have my sister who plays college soccer, and so we were just sort of on the grind like day in, day out playing. But that gets really repetitive when you're doing it for 2 months, 3 months, 4 months while everything's sort of shut down. But it was really just, I've always loved training and I've always loved playing soccer. And I feel like that's the biggest thing. It's just like falling in love with the process of getting better and just really enjoying the little things, whether it's like passing the soccer ball or like lifting those weights. And I feel like that sounds cliche, but to get to the next level, like keep getting better and improving, it's like, that's what it takes. And I think people forget how bumpy of a road it is. It'll be like some good moments, some bad moments, but as long as your trajectory is always going upward and always remembering what your long-term goal is, good things happen. And so there were some times, to be completely honest, where it was hard because it was like last June, everything had just stopped. I didn't know what the trials were looking like. I didn't really know where I was going to fall into the pro soccer realm. And it was like just me going out to the field going, all right, another hour and a half session today. And then I got to go lift. And it was hard for those days and that month or so. But once things started to get back into the rhythm and the world sort of figure out how to get pro sports back. And so like when the NWSL came back and they did the NBA bubble tournament, it was like things started to progress back, and then it was just going to tryout, playing well, performing, seeing if there's an opportunity there. Yes, no, like if it's not, all right, whatever, go to the next one and just like keep knocking on all those doors, and building those connections and just playing your heart out and having fun, and eventually good things happen. And I think that's a pretty good mindset for a lot of things, whether it's like in the job, in the workforce, in sports and school. It won't always go smoothly or like according to your initial plan, but if you keep at it, don't get discouraged and stay positive, good things will come out of it.
Yeah, I love what you said there, especially like you have to fall in love with the process because everyone wants to go right to the next level, like that, no question. But like, let's be honest, like that's never the case. You can't go right to the next level. You have to put in the work and everything. It's like, how hard was that? Or I'm guessing it was pretty easy to stay determined, especially since you had those long-term goals that you wanted, and like that kept you driven to get to the next level and practicing every single day. So like, what was that path like, and just being able to just training every day? Like you said, it was a grind and you didn't want to do it sometimes, but you ended up going to train, lift right after. It's like, what was that all about?
Yes, I think there's a good quote by, I think it's actually Tom Brady, he says, what are you willing to sacrifice to be great? And I think for a lot of people coming out of Division 1, Division 2, Division 3 sports, or like high school, trying to make it to the pro level, people don't fully understand what you have to sacrifice and what you have to give up. It's all right, my buddies are going to the beach today. Oh, I guess I can't go because I got to train, and being out in the sun is going to make me tired and I can't maximize my training. Or, oh, the guys are going out on Friday night for a drink. Can't do that because I got a game Saturday morning or something like that. And it's easy to say, oh yeah, I'd pick that every single time. But then when you're in the moment, your best friends are doing that, it gets really hard. And I think that's what it takes, because there's so many good players out there, whether it's soccer, basketball, hockey, cross country, track and field, whatever sport it is, there's so many good athletes and good players in the country. What separates you isn't exactly what your ability is, it's how dedicated you are and how much you're willing to like push it. And I know they always say like hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. And it's like, that's something that's so important to a lot of players, and like myself especially, because it was like high school, I was good and I was solid, but I was never like the best guy. And it's like, but if you keep working, you keep getting better, then good things will come. And I think the other aspect is like, I just love playing soccer and I love training, and it just brings me so much joy. And for a lot of players, like pros, that's what it is. You just really love it more as much as you can, just day in and day out.
Yeah, absolutely. I just find that like when you like as you grow, like you develop that love even more and more.
Mhm.
Just like, especially like when you get like serious about it and like you have to like actually train for
Yeah.
it. Like as a kid, like you just play for fun. Like if of course it's fun now, but like it means more now than it does probably when you were younger. And just being able to
Yeah.
like, work and work and work to help seeing yourself progress, like it must be incredible to see where you've gone from.
Yes, there's been some times where I think it's always more like live in the moment, but also like take a step back. And it's like, so when you're having a day where it's like, oh man, my touch wasn't good, or I didn't finish as many shots, it's like, all right, 2 years ago, would I be really proud of myself where I am now? It's like, yes I would. And going back to like that younger version of yourself, I think when I was like growing up, it was like, oh yeah, those guys on the television, I want to be like them. You want to play pro. Like most kids playing sports growing up, that's what you didn't want to do. And it's sort of like a dream and a vision. But then as you get older and you start playing more, and like obviously at a certain point, it's like, all right, am I good at soccer? Then I'll keep with it. If I'm not, then I'll go to something else. And I think we all have those moments. And it's like, if you just keep sticking with it, that dream becomes more of a reality, or something that's like, okay, that's very tangible now. I can see these concrete steps on how to get there. And then it goes from this dream to something like within touching distance. And that's when it gets really special and exciting. And that's when you get a lot of ups and downs.
Yeah, absolutely. So like how was it like when you when you graduated college, and you started going to these camps and these tryouts and all that, and then you're reaching for the stars, like you're right there, and then you could get you could get released, and then you go back to another tryout and same thing, or like you make the team where you eventually are right now with Chicago House. Like what was like all those experiences like? And because obviously you could learn a lot from no matter what, even if you get cut, like you learn a lot. So like what did you learn from all those experiences?
I think the biggest thing that I learned was just it drove home persistence. And I went to probably 5 or 6 tryouts across the country before I finally got an opportunity. And it wasn't even like at any of those tryouts I was the worst player there. I was in the top half. It all felt like it was things I couldn't control. It was, oh, you're really good. We like how you play. We got 4 other wingers in your position, so they don't need another winger. Or, oh, we're actually short on money because of COVID, so we weren't able to charge fans revenue, so we can't bring in any more players this year. And COVID was really frustrating in that sense, because it made an already really hard business to get into ultra competitive even harder, because these clubs now that are barely making money, and the money they do make are from like fans and ticket sales and game day revenue, they didn't have that. And so it's made it exponentially harder. But I think persistence and just that unwavering belief in like what you're doing is right, and knowing I'm a good player, knowing I belong at this level, like, all right, hey, not this time, but the next time. And there are times where I fly home and it's like just bummed out. It's like, I played so well. What could I have done differently? And it's like, to a certain extent, it was just sort of out of my control. It's like, yes, here and there, maybe some things differently, but a lot of times, like you can be the best player on the field of those tryouts, and it won't matter if they already have 4 guys in your position or they don't have the money to sign players. And that's sort of the cruel reality that I realized when I started trying to get in that from college, because they don't talk about that. Nobody talks about that.
Yeah, absolutely. And just I like how you said like you belong at the level. Like a lot of people like they'll get cut and they'll be like they'll just like either like quit completely or just like not try again. But like you were persistent, kept coming back, kept coming back, and then you go and then you make the team. Like how much is like confidence in that case, and just being able to know that you belong at the level, I guess you could say, and just that you could compete with these guys.
Yeah, I think it's a big confidence boost, and also just sort of knowing my ability and something. And it's like a fine line between being confident, cocky, and like humble. And I think finding that middle ground where you know your ability, you know what you can do, but also not pushing over so you're making mistakes is so important. And as I've seen like in a lot of the pro guys, it's like everybody has it down to a T. It's like they're all confident. They're like, they know they can play. They know their first touch is going to be good every time. They know they can play that 50-yard pass across the field, but they're not trying to do things they know they can't. And I think when players try to do stuff they can, or like try and dribble past 5-6 guys, that's when things start to go south. And so it's really, you have to just like play and learn that sometimes playing simpler is better, and just letting the game come to you, and then trusting in your ability when you get that opportunity to make that move or beat that guy or put the ball in the back of the net, that you'll do it. And I think that comes from also just reps on the training ground and just getting lots and reps. Because at the end of the day, if you can't do it in practice, you're not going to be able to do it in a game with fans screaming at you, players chirping your ear, like players coming at you full speed, that sort of thing. Because it's just different on the field and on the ice, as I'm sure you've seen.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I'm like in the same place as you. Like I like in 2 months I'll be at my first like pro tryout, and like
Congrats, that's super exciting.
thank you. Yeah, and like I've learned like everything that like you've been learning about just from training, and just like I'm guessing like after this trial like I'll gain another experience. But
yeah,
all of these like things like that you just can tell with how the pros handle stuff. Like you just can tell that like they're not cocky, but they're super confident like what they can do, and know that they can make plays, make saves when they have to, make saves that they should not be able to make, score maybe when things aren't going their way, and just plugging away. Like it's amazing what you can learn from when you're competing against high level players like we both are.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and it's incredible, like just to think about it, and just like how much you learn the game by just playing under these guys and just learning from them every single day.
Yes. And I think that's the biggest thing. I'm sure you've seen when you've stepped on the ice. It's like you can tell right away from the first touch of the ball, or like first touch of the puck, or when they skate or like run, you can see, all right, he's a good player. He's a good player. You can just tell they're like, that you carry yourself differently. Because it's like, you belong, you've done this millions of times in the training ground or in practice. It's like when the moment comes, you're ready, and you can do it. And the one question I always get a lot of is like, all right, how do I get more confident? Like, how do I have confidence in myself? And I'm like, really, it's simple, and you just do reps, and just not deferring, and just believing in yourself, and just, all right, you want to hit that shot from 20 out, go hit that shot from 20 out 30 times in training. Like Kobe Bryant would hit free throws after practice till midnight, and that's how you get confident.
Yeah, exactly. And just like confidence isn't given to you. Like you have to actually like put in the work and just work at it. Like I can't tell you how many times like haven't been able to save a breakaway, but you go in, like you have guys going on a breakaway on you, and you stop maybe 2 out of 10 on sometimes. Then next day you get 3 out of 10, 4 out of 10,
exactly,
8, 9 out, 9, 10 out of 10, even sometimes. Like just the repetitions helps you gain that confidence. And even if people say you can't do it, if you believe in yourself and you believe that you can do it, like
that's it,
you can do it.
And I've been very fortunate to have a really good support structure from like Coach Dave G. Tomaso, the head coach at Elmhurst, to my family too, saying, "Hey, go for it! Like, take the chance, go for your dream." And it's really amazing because I've seen a lot of kids who are in similar positions, but they don't have that belief from their parents or at close family members or close circles, and it takes a toll on them because it's just like another. You already have these coaches telling you stuff or other players on the field, and it's like when you have more people who like you care about or trust saying no, don't do it, or no, you can't, you're not good enough. It's hard, and so that's something I'm very appreciative of and thankful for, having a head coach who's like been a great mentor all the way, and then having parents and my sister and family who's just been very supportive.
Yeah, exactly. Like friends and family, like I have the same thing. Like
Hmm.
they support me forever, and like they support what I do and like everything.
Hmm.
Like they believe in myself, which also helps believe
Yeah.
in myself, which
Hmm.
also helps. But like just having that circle that believes in you, like it drives you another way
It
where
does.
another level, even just to get to that next level and fulfill your dream.
Yes, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Yeah, so I'm sure you've had people say like you're not going to be able to do this, you're not going to be able to do that. It's like what, like obviously like the circles like that tell you that you can, like that drives you, but like what else drives you when people say like you can't do that, but you go ahead and follow your dream anyway because you believe in yourself.
Yes, I would say I'll never forget. I had a club coach when I was younger who basically told me I was too small to keep playing soccer,
The
and I was
class
like,
is
well,
too small.
exactly. And it's like that's such a classic story so many kids across the country have. It's like, hold up, I'm like 14. I haven't grown yet, and you're telling me right now I'm too small to keep playing soccer. It's like, who are you to judge? You haven't played the game in 30 years, like that sort of thing. And I think having those sorts of moments, it's like you can either get discouraged or go, all right, take it as a challenge. And I've always taken it as a challenge. I've been a very competitive person since the beginning, and most high level athletes are just like this uber competitive mindset. Um, and I've sort of used that as like fuel to the fire. And I think it's a combination of like this just internal burning that I have and a lot of athletes have, where it's just I want to get better for myself, combined with people saying no, you can't do it. You're all right, I'm gonna do it because you said I can, like that sort of thing. And then just the positive feedback from like those close. And my dad always would tell me like when I was younger, it's like, why not you? And I think that's a really good phrase because like, yeah, why not me? You can look at the stats and go, all right, 1% of college athletes will play pro, and like 0.05% of high school athletes play pro. But and it's like that's all super discouraging. But if you just like throw that aside and go, all right, whatever, why not me? Why can't I be that like 0.1 or whatever percent? It makes it a little easier, I guess. I don't know. It's just I think finding ways to not be so discouraged or think about like the magnitude of what you're doing and just go, all right, get better each day. Why not you? Just go do it. Just do it, sort of thing. That helps.
Yeah, exactly. And like I couldn't tell you how many times that people would say you can't do it, you can't do this, and then
Yeah,
like you go out there and these guys are saying this, and then you stop them, and they don't score all game.
exactly.
Like you're kind of like, haha, like you said I
Take
can't do it.
that.
I just stopped you, and you said you
Yeah.
can do it. So like it must be
Yeah,
like so that brings confidence as well. So
it does.
I want to get into like some of like the like obviously like you have bad games you're in a
Hmm.
whenever you're in a sport. So like what like
Hmm.
what's your mindset like when you do have that bad game and just have it not affect you for a long term, but just to keep it short and just maybe a game or two and then you're back to where you were before.
Yeah, that's a good question. And I think it happens like bad games, but also just bad plays. And the biggest thing you have to realize is like at the end of the day, it's still just a game. And everybody makes mistakes. Nobody's perfect. And if I'm in sort of like a slump or like having a bad game or I wasn't happy with some things I did, like I have a couple of highlight tapes of myself that I've just put together, and I go watch that because like I feel like seeing yourself do it right, or watching old videos or like watching videos of high level pros and like the top leagues and stuff. Like those are sorts of things you just have to do. Um, Sometimes I'll do some visualization, like visualizing myself doing the scissors, beating a player, getting in line. Um, And I think the biggest thing, whether it's a bad game or a bad play, is just going, all right, refocus, next one. It's being able to completely like getting rid of it. And I don't know if you've seen this, so Ted Lasso.
I have not.
Okay, there's one, it's based like follows Jason Sudeikis as the main character. And it follows this like team in England playing football or soccer rather. And they have a bad game, and he goes, what's a goldfish? What makes a goldfish special? And then one of the players goes, they have a 9-second memory. And he's like, be a goldfish. And I think it's like, you just got to end of the day, just like forget it. It's like, sure, bad pass, bad play, whatever, just move on to the next one. And just being able to refocus and just not let it affect you is really hard, but very important when you get it down. It's like, that's the hardest thing to do, but that's what separates players.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just, you got to have that short term. Like I coach baseball as well, and like we tell our kids all the time, just you you make a bad play, just short memory, just zap it out of your head and just focus on the next play that comes to you. Like when I give up a goal, like I focus on the next shot, because that's all you can do. And just
that's all you can do.
Sure the same thing for you, like you just focus on the next play that's coming, like try to think ahead and like what you're going to do with it before you get the ball, and then that like sparks like a good moment in your head, and just like that really helps you the next play without like making an error or anything like that.
And I think, and simply put, like if I have a bad pass from the next one's like, all right, I'm going to complete this pass, just simple pass, boom, get it down, and then we're flying again. And I think sometimes people want to do a lot. It's like, oh, if I make a mistake, I got to make up for it by doing a whole lot of things after. But it's like, really just trust yourself and just bounce back, having that like short memory in a way, and just think positive. And then if it's a bad game, just remembering it's like, hey, I'm playing soccer, playing the sport because I love it and I want to have fun at the end of the day. And it's like, if you're not having fun, what's the point of doing it?
Yeah, it's all about having fun. Like sure, when you get to the pro ranks and like college, it's a business, but like you're still expected to have fun, like, and take it seriously. So like you want to have fun, and just you're playing the game for a reason, and that's because you're having fun with it. If you weren't having fun, you wouldn't be playing the sport. Simple as that.
Correct. Exactly.
Yeah, so I want to go on to like college a little bit here. So like you grew up in Madison, Wisconsin, like we talked about earlier, and you're a decent high school player, like you said, and just you said you weren't the best, but then you go on to college where you played Division III at Elmhurst College, now university. So like, what was the process like to get recruited to play at Elmhurst?
Yes. So I was looking at a couple schools. I had a couple Division I offers as like a walk-on in my sophomore and junior year. But then Coach DiTommaso saw me at a regional ODP, so Olympic Development Program camp, and like reached out to me, invited me back to his college combine. And it was like all these other coaches were solid coaches, but the thing that just jumped out to me about him was just his professionalism and just how much knowledge he knew about the game. And I was like, sure, going to a Division I school and trying to walk on, like, I believe in myself, I bet on myself. But those coaches didn't know as much as this dude did. He like played second division in Germany, pro soccer. And I think a lot of college coaches just don't have that knowledge of the game or like know how to get to the next level. And I was like, okay, I can go through him and get to the next level. And so like after talking to him, it was like, this seems like a no-brainer. The way he runs his program, the culture he has on the team. Obviously Elmhurst being close to Chicago, I was like, I love Chicago. So that was nice too. And it's a good school with good academics as well. And so that was sort of, once I reached out to him and talked to him more, he made me an offer. That was where I saw myself going.
Yeah, that's awesome. So then you go into your freshman year. It's like, what was that transition from high school soccer to college soccer, and just able to like put everything in the past away from you and just focus on the present and just playing Division III soccer?
Yeah, so that was a pretty big adjustment. Because I led in my senior year, I led my team in goals and assists. But then you're playing with like 18-year-olds. But in college, you're a 17 or 18-year-old playing against 22, 23-year-old men. And I think that was the biggest thing. And I like into my sophomore year, I grew 3 inches. And so I had this massive growth spurt and just grew and developed physically. And so freshman year, I got some good minutes for like good minutes for a freshman, but it was really just learning a lot, like just taking it all in, learning the new system, watching a lot of tape of myself and like the college games, just watching college games. Going, all right, here's how we want that player to play, trying to emulate that. And so it's really just sort of being a sponge and just soaking it all in. And then as the year sort of progressed, like just working, keeping that drive and dedication in the off season, because that's really where the most development happens. Because like the in season is like 3 months of 20 plus games. It's a grind.
It is.
And then the off season, you have the 9-10 months just to develop on yourself. It's like the off season is really good for individual development, whereas the season is good for working on team. And so it's like weight room, racquetball courts, getting lots of touches in that off season. And then it paid off.
Yeah, it's like throughout your freshman year, like what else did you learn throughout that year? And just being besides like the development point of where you're just doing it whatever you can to help yourself get better and like video and all that, but like what else would you do to help yourself make that next jump to that next level and be ready for the college game?
Yeah, I think so. The biggest thing I learned was just don't get wrapped up in soccer, because it's so easy if you have a bad practice to go, all right, and just like sulk in that all day. And then it sort of feeds over to the next day or something. And then I think the biggest thing is having balance between your soccer and what you do for the soccer versus like having a balance in elsewhere. So like whether it's school or like hobbies or just like hanging out, playing cards with your buddies. I think that was the biggest thing I realized and like got a good feel for. It was, yeah, I can play soccer and spend as much time as I want playing soccer, but also you got to take some time for yourself and like spend time with friends, play cards, obviously study for school. I was a chemistry major, so that kept me quite busy. And so I think those two hand to hand went well and like helped me and just figuring out that balance.
Yeah, and your teammates and your friends are a huge part of how successful you are, because you, like I've learned just from cross country and track and all that, and like just you have a bad workout, you can't be sure like you're gonna dwell on it for a little bit, but like you can't dwell on it for the whole day because it'll ruin your whole mentality for the rest of the week. So
yeah,
like just having those friends to like go to the calf with and eat some dinner,
exactly,
like that always, and just
like ping pong in the roost.
Ping pong in the roost, like anything like that. Cool. Like just to take your mind off the workout, like it really does help, and just being able to get away from the game, away from the track, like it's all super beneficial for you to get away from the game for a little bit.
It is.
Yeah, it is. And then you go into your sophomore year where you're playing more games than you did your first year. It's like, what was that experience like, just getting more games and being more comfortable with the college game?
Yeah, again, it was just I had played summer soccer with UPSL, so I think technically that's tier 4 in the hierarchy of like professional to amateur. So it's the one level below tier 3, and so it's a league that's fully amateur. And a lot of college guys come back from the summer, like Division 1, Division 2, D3 guys. And so playing in that environment was really good as well. I had a team, Mattis 56ers. We're just training with them and getting more comfortable just playing at that level. And also I grew, which helped as well. And then combined with just, I feel like you just come back and you're more relaxed because now you're going over the game plan, you're going over the style of play, but it's the second time through. And so maybe you're picking up on more details you missed on year one, or you have a better relationship with your teammates now because you know them for a year and now you're just getting to know the freshmen. And then the other thing is like you're more of a leader on the team, more is expected of you. And so sophomore year was good, and I really started to feel more comfortable. And I had a better vision of where I fit in on the team, like what my piece in the puzzle was. Because sometimes as a freshman, it's like you're just like 60th minute sub, you're going winger, center mid, outside back, striker, like wherever they sort of need you. But sophomore year is when I sort of found out, all right, as an attacking mid, winger, those two, okay, I can focus on those two positions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is helpful.
Yeah, and just like your freshman year, like everything's racing in your head. Like
it is.
It's a lot faster of a pace game, and like you have to like decisions a lot more quicker. And then you come back your sophomore year, especially playing with that amateur team, like everything, like you're playing with D1, D2, like all those guys, and like you just calm yourself down and just like you're able to just really like take it all in and just focus on what you have to. Everything's not going like twice the speed as it should be.
Exactly. No, everything's not going 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, exactly. And then, so like, what was your favorite like parts of your of the first 2 years of college for you, and just playing in those games and getting used to playing soccer and at the college level?
Yeah, my favorite game we played in the first years is probably the last game of the season, sophomore year. We had sort of had a couple iffy results, and it was I started and we played at North Park, at their field in the city, and we managed to get a win in overtime against them to win 2-1. And it was I played like 102 minutes, I think, that game, and so I was just exhausted, but it was just so fun because I was playing well, and finally like things clicked. And I was like, this is it. This is amazing. And it was just a blast. Like the team performed so well together. We followed the game plan that DT wrote out for us, and we got 3 points out of it. And then
when everything's going your way.
It is. It was fun. It was a really fun one.
Yeah. So then you go into your junior year and you missed the entire season, I'm pretty sure, right?
Yes.
With injuries, like how hard was that year to since and just that you weren't able to actually play games like you wanted to?
Yeah, so that was really hard. I'd come off that sophomore year just flying. I had a really good off season that spring, and then that June I was diagnosed with a pubic ramus stress fracture, so right in my pelvis, and that was just pretty crushing. I don't know if you've had a pretty severe injury or anything like that sidelined you, but it
maybe for like
sucks.
2 weeks, but not anything long term.
Yeah, I was out for about 14 months. All in all, yeah, it was hard. It was hard because it was like all of a sudden everything I've been doing every single day was just like taken away from me, and I was just like bedridden for 2 months pretty much. And I was like, what am I supposed to do with my life? And it was hard. And I had to like figure out new ways to like keep myself busy. And like, yeah, it was a lot of video games, a lot of FIFA, living vicariously through my player. But it was like reading books and just spending time with my family too at home that summer. And then once I was able to like walk and move around, it just became, all right, now I got to get back, and I'm going to come back better. Like minor setback, major comeback. And so it was like cross training. I was swimming a lot. I started just lifting upper body. And then I finally was able to come back and play in November. So I was just training. I trained for 2 weeks, and then boom, diagnosed with another pubic ramus stress fracture. I was like, this is weird. And then I wanted to figure out why, because it's a relatively uncommon injury to get. It's actually pretty common in runners. And then it turns out I was diagnosed with celiac disease. So I basically gluten intolerance, gluten allergy. And so once I changed my diet, it's like that was also a big impact as well. So like that January I'd gone from, I did not figure out how to like what to eat and like what to do food wise. And so it was a total shift. But one thing I didn't mention actually was when I did come back, and it got easier when I was back with my teammates. And once we were in preseason, and it was actually really good too for my development as a leader, because Coach DeMasso sort of helped me and was just talking to me all the time on the sidelines. I basically sort of became another assistant coach. And that was really good because I got to like sort of step back and just see the game from a completely different perspective. And I think in the moment, it felt like that was the worst thing that had ever happened to me. I can't play soccer. I'm now just standing here watching all these guys play and do what I love. But looking back, it was actually such a blessing in disguise, because I was able to just like lift and get stronger, but also just like take a step back and take it all in. And now I wasn't worried about how I was playing, just learning the game, learning what I could do, learning how I can just come back in and go, boom, I'm right back there. And so it was like just training, lifting, and just not getting discouraged. And I think that was the biggest aspect of it. Like just staying positive throughout the whole time. And it was like there were days where I was so hard, but you have to like stay motivated, stay positive. And it definitely got easier when I was back to the team, doing school, able to lift.
Yeah, and then like just being a good teammate as well, and becoming
exactly
like, a leader, like you said. Like I bet you learned a lot from that, and just how to be a better teammate, and just like even though you're not playing, like you just the support you probably had for your teammates
exactly
off the charts and like out of this world. And like I feel like when like you have a good mindset, like obviously like things like that sucks to happen, but like
Mhm.
you step back from playing and just saw the whole game from a different perspective, and then it brings you into like that reality, like that you what you I don't know how you can put it, like just to do how you can get better is just like by just
Yes,
watching the game and just watching what other people
exactly.
do, especially like high performers, high
Mhm.
elite athletes, and just being able to get their tendencies down and just learn
Mhm.
from them and just create that for
Yes,
yourself in your game.
yes. And I've always been a lead by example type player, but that's hard to do when you're on the sidelines. And so I got better at opening up my voice, talking to players, holding people accountable in a positive way where it like helps bring them up versus bringing them down. And it really set me up well where I ended up captaining the squad my last 2 years. And I think I like without that 1 year of taking a step back and fully focusing on like my leadership and just soccer intelligence and soccer IQ, it I don't know what would have happened. It was crucial.
Yeah, for sure. And like I'm the same way. Like I like leading by example.
Hmm.
Like I've definitely learned how to be a leader otherwise than just by
Hmm.
example, but like I'm like an example kind of guy, and just like I go out there
Hmm.
every single day, whether it be practice, meet, game,
Yeah,
whatever. Like you give 100%, and like you're
exactly.
all in every single time, every single
Hmm.
day, even if you don't feel like it, like feel good, like you just have to, especially if you want to be that
Yes.
leader that leads by example. Like that's a given.
Hmm.
So
Exactly.
then you go into your fourth and fifth year, the next 2 years.
Hmm.
So like what were those 2 years like, and just being able to get back to playing the game and just work on following your dreams?
Yeah. My senior year or year four was definitely an adjustment because it was going from like training and being very cautious and like mindful of my body and training to now playing training every day and then playing like two, sometimes 3 games a week. And it was like by the end of the season, I was just shot. Like my body, I'd come back and I had really started running and playing probably mid-July. And then we'd preseason first week of August and then first game September 1, basically. And then you're playing 2, 3 months there. And so it was just sort of just figuring out how to last and just be somewhat positive and have a contribution. And I ended up leading the goals and or ended up leading the team in goals and assists. But it was really that was a year where I was just like coming back, getting my feet going, getting this soccer again because I hadn't played in a match in like 14 or 15 months. And so then it was really that off season where I was training with a bunch of current pros, and actually two of them are on my team now, Chicago House. And it was really training with them. And then I guess I trained with them a little bit the year prior, but I trained with them a lot that winter and spring, and then that summer. And then I just came in flying into that senior season. And it was also a lot of guys worked really hard that offseason, like Oliver Sale, who got Defensive Player of the Year that year, Luke Deal, Donnie Kaveen, a lot of our juniors and sophomores as well. It was a really good group that we had. It was like everything clicked that fifth year.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure. And like you like coming back from injury, you learn to love the game even more, especially when
mhm,
you're out for 14, 15 months, like you said.
exactly.
You just go back and like you're playing the game you love. Like
Hmm.
there's no better feeling than just getting
Hmm.
back to the game you love.
Yes, I think that was one of the biggest things that happened. That I was like, okay, I want to keep playing soccer for as long as I can. It was like when you have it taken away, it was like I don't want this. I want to keep playing soccer forever if I can. But like obviously that can't happen. But when the game's like taken away, you're like, wow, you realize how much you love it and how much you want to keep playing. And that was one of the big triggers for me on why I was like, I have to keep playing after college.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you go into your fifth year and you have a
Hmm.
fantastic year. You were named to the first team all conference team where you led the team in goals and assists and shots on goals.
Hmm.
Like what was that final season like, and everything you've accomplished throughout your time, while also helping the team, helping the program, helping build the program even more?
Yeah, it was a really fun season. To be completely honest, it was fun because I was playing well. We were winning games. The whole team was playing well, and it was really cool to just see the work that me and the other captains had put in that previous like 2 years just pay off. We had guys bought into the program, bought into our vision, bought into the mindset, bought into how we wanted to play, and it was just really satisfying to see that happen. there's like, there were a couple games where I didn't score, but the team played well and we won. It was like, that's what it's about. It was just so fun to see like all the hard work we put in on like those long days in the weight room, the early mornings of the gym in the off season, and like those long team meetings where everybody at the end is just dead and like nobody wants to be there. But like when you get a game winner in like the 85th minute against your rivals, it's just, that's where it pays off, and it's like, yep, it's worth it.
It all comes full circle.
It all comes for a full circle indeed. But it was really fun and really satisfying. And it's despite what has happened last year. Like I've been talking to a couple of guys, like Rafa Consalvo, one of my roommates, who was a sophomore, but I think he's now gonna be a senior, I guess. Wow, they grow up so fast. But it's been cool just talking to him and seeing what he learned from us, and just like he is passing it down to the next generation.
Yeah, I love that.
And it's cool to see that, like, we had a great senior season, but we've like changed these kids and helped them for the better. And that's really satisfying and just an amazing feeling too. Feels like you're a part of something bigger.
Yeah, absolutely. It's no better feeling when all the guys that were new when you were around are seniors, juniors now, and like going up to their last
Exactly.
year of playing college soccer.
Mm-hmm.
So Keegan, I have a few more questions for you before we wrap things up. So do you have any tips for younger players looking to do what you did, follow your dreams, to go play professionally, college, whatever level they want to go, and just what are some of the tips you'd give them?
Yes, I think first, whatever the division, play soccer in college or play sports in college. So many times people bash on those lower levels like D3 or NAIA. And it's like, there's a lot of good teams in every level, and you could beat the team above in whatever level it is. So I think just play college sports. You get a degree out of it. You get a great group of friends that are going to be lifelong pals and buddies. And then just don't get discouraged. Don't get discouraged. Keep working and fall in love with the process. Enjoy those workouts, whether it's a good one or a bad one. Say, I did it. I'm proud of myself for doing that. Don't let people tell you you can't do it, because if you work hard enough and you put in the time, anything's possible.
Exactly. I love that tip, and just keep going what you love and what you want to do, and good things will happen. Like that's all you do.
Whether it's in the workforce or on the field, wherever it is, just have fun and keep working hard.
Exactly. So my next question for you is I heard from a source, Antonio, that you're growing to be a soccer content creator on TikTok. So like, what was that about?
Yeah, so that was actually, I picked it up during the pandemic. And the quarantine, it was just like I had these drills, and I was like, why not share them with more people? And then I think I had 2 videos that got like 150,000 views. I was like, I'm onto something here. But it's been fun. It's a good community actually, and I feel like it's cool to see like the stuff I'm doing, like training, like my drills, so I can share it with a lot more people. And I want people to be able to see that, because it's not just for me, it's for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want everybody to have an opportunity.
Yeah, 100% agree with you there. Like I pretty much do the same thing with like hockey. Like I'm gonna try with like track and cross country too.
Yeah,
this year, and just like it's a lot of fun to create content. Just
it is.
You learn a lot from that too.
Yeah,
for sure. And so my final question for you is you come from a very athletic family. Like your parents ran Division 1, I believe my Antonio said, and then
correct.
sister plays soccer. It's like how important has family been for you, and just like to follow in their footsteps while also creating your own path to being a high performing athlete?
Yeah, that's been very important. I think my parents are still maybe a little salty that I didn't do track and field. My dad always was like, you would have been a great steeplechase runner. I was like, yeah, but soccer. Yeah, they both ran at Tennessee, go Vols. And then my mom was actually the 1982 Seoul, Korea Olympic marathon coach for the women. So yeah, they're both like incredible athletes, and both my sister and I have sort of grown up in an environment where it's like, you got to be a good athlete. Like we got good genes, and it's like just sports and athletics have been such a crucial part of our family and just how we live life. Like we'll all go to the gym together, or I'll go on like walks and runs and things like that. And my dad would go out to the field with us, my mom too. And it's been such like a good family bonding. And it's been very important. Because like seeing them do it, it's like, yeah, that's possible. Because I think that's, some people don't have those good role models. And I've been very fortunate to have two fantastic role models, both very intelligent, very smart people, and both very successful in athletics. And I was like, okay, my dad and mom did it, I can do it too, that sort of thing. So I'm very thankful for them.
Yeah, that's awesome. Just you got the good genes also help.
Yeah,
They really help a
exactly.
lot, so I can't complain about that.
It makes fitness tests a little easier.
That is 100% true. But Keegan, thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate your time, and I want to wish you the best of luck with the season coming up for you. And I look forward to following your career the rest of the way.
Thank you, Jack. Thanks for having me. Home opener, August 21st at SeatGeek Stadium. Come out.
Oh yeah, let's go.